Ray scanned the ravaged cityscape. Buildings lay in ruins, gnawed by time and decay. The air hung heavy, thick with the stench of rot and death. He gripped his makeshift axe tighter, his knuckles white. The undead would come, they always did. But this time something felt different. His gaze drifted towards Grace. She sat perched on a crumbling ledge, her eyes closed, her face pale. He worried about her. Her powers were growing, erupting in uncontrolled bursts of ice and frost. It was incredible, it was terrifying. He didn't know if he could protect her from herself. "They're coming," Grace whispered, her eyes snapping open, her voice devoid of emotion. Her gaze seemed to pierce through the growing shadows. More than before, stronger. A shiver ran down Ray's spine. He had a bad feeling about this. He had to protect her. He had to protect them both. The undead surged from the alleyways, a grotesque tide of decaying flesh and hunger. Their moans echoed through the empty streets, a chorus of despair. Ray let out a battle cry, his fear transforming into a primal rage. He charged, his axe cleaving through the air, meeting the first wave of undead with a sickening crunch. Beside him, Grace was a whirlwind of ice and snow. Her hands, glowing with an ethereal light, unleashed bolts of freezing energy. Undead froze mid-stride, their bodies encased in ice, before shattering into a million pieces. Ray waded through the horde, his axe a blur of motion. He ducked and weaved, avoiding grasping claws and snapping teeth. He felt a surge of grim satisfaction with every swing, every fallen monster. They were outnumbered, but they would not fall. Not today. The horde pressed their attack, relentless, unending. Ray felt himself tiring, his movements slowing. He needed a new plan. His eyes fell on a pile of discarded fuel cylinders. An idea sparked. "Grace!" he roared, his voice barely audible above the snarls of the undead. "The cylinders! Distract them, Grace!" Her face, a mask of concentration, didn't hesitate. She unleashed a wave of ice, a frozen barricade between Ray and the horde. It wouldn't hold them for long, but it would buy him time. Ray sprinted towards the cylinders, adrenaline coursing through his veins. He rigged them together, his hands working on instinct. He felt a surge of heat as he ignited the makeshift explosives. The world erupted in a deafening roar, flames consuming the undead, sending shockwaves through the street. Section 4. A bond forged in ashes. The smoke cleared, revealing a scene of utter devastation. The stench of burnt flesh filled the air. Ray coughed, his ears ringing, his body aching. He had survived, but at what cost? He looked around for Grace, panic rising in his chest. "Over here!" a voice called out, weak but alive. He found her leaning against a wall, her chest heaving, her face streaked with soot and sweat. He rushed to her side, relief washing over him. He didn't know what he would do without her. "We make a good team," Grace said, a rare smile flickering on her lips. Ray returned the smile, his heart pounding. He had never felt closer to anyone. They had faced death together and they had emerged stronger. He knew with a certainty that defied logic that their bond ran deeper than just survival. To be continued.